Good morning. How's it going, everybody? Let's get this party started. Okay, just making sure everything is working. Yeah, it seems okay. Seems okay on Twitch. Yep. Okay, so where were we and what are we doing today? So I guess I can show off what I finished yesterday. So I got back into it a bit, and I built this little menu pop-up thing, which is essentially just the travel confirmation message or pop-up. Tells you, how much travel time you have, what your mass is, specific energy for the fuel you're using. Then you can select a fuel, select the amount of fuel, etc. So if I had to play, it should work. I also changed a bunch of other stuff, so I should probably test that as well. Essentially, what I did, or the main thing I did was, so I have this icon selector element, right, that I use for basically all my drop down selection things, right? And it had some problems. First of all, you couldn't add it in UI Toolkit. You had to add it programmatically because the icon selector had a generic type, something like this, which is not allowed with UI Toolkit. Right, so I had to fix that. So I took that out, but that also broke a lot of other stuff. So I had to split the constructor and make an init as well, or initialization. So all of this happened yesterday. It broke a lot of stuff, gave me a lot of errors. I got through it. It should be fine now. But anyway, let's see. Okay, so you'll notice if you click on Vulcan now and you say want to go to Mars, for instance, you get the pop-up. It's like, okay, you want to confirm travel. You want to go from Earth to Mars. Travel time is 27.3 seconds. I'm not sure about the units yet. It might be days. But here we have our total mass as well. You can select your fuel. So I can be like, okay, that's a bit slow. But I'm willing. Okay, yeah, that pop-up doesn't look right, so I'll have to fix that. But I'm willing to use my industrial chemicals, which has a specific energy of 7.5. So that significantly reduces the travel time. Or I want to use less of it, so let's use 100. And there we go. Not sure if that's actually seconds that I'm calculating. It doesn't feel like that's going to be 18 seconds. Let's see if I can time this, because it's a bit slow, but also at some point I made the game time. Okay, no, game speed is 1. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm just doing a timer here on my phone. Let's see. Stopwatch. Okay, so let's go to Jupiter. Okay. Okay, 128, that's a bit too long, so let's get advanced propellants. So roughly 20 seconds. And go. It's definitely faster than it was going to Mars. Okay, slowing down because space is getting compressed over here. And Done. Okay, that's exactly 20 seconds. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so that's how it goes now. So we can go faster by spending more fuel or changing the fuel type. And it remembers your previous fuel selection, so it's just a little quality of life thing. If I want to travel again now, it knows I want to use... Oh, I don't actually update the name of the fuel over there. Ah, okay. So there's a little bug. Okay, so we can go iron out some of these things. So first off, this name doesn't update, so we can quickly go fix that. And then secondly, I don't like the way that appears up there. That looks terrible. Okay, let's see if we can figure that out. Okay, the name should be straightforward. I'm just closing a few things because I don't need all of these. Yeah, so this is the fuel name. Yeah, I never change it. So I basically just need to go to update info, do fuel name dot text. Wait, is it the fuel name label? What? Okay, so yeah, we basically just use the preferred fuel ID here. We probably want string formatter preferred fuel ID. That's not right. We need to do dot capitalize first letters. Yeah, there we go. So that's that one. So that's easy. Okay, this one is less easy. Essentially, I wonder if I could do this. Actually, don't know if that's possible. But yeah, there's also something wrong with this icon select a little bit because it should have icons. So let's say show pop-up. And we have these row buttons. Yeah, we are adding the icon. Oh, you know what? Maybe I don't have the... Eh? I'm thinking I don't have the correct... these selectors in there. It's probably something like that. I think it's a style problem. Okay. Let's go look for our pop-up. No, the USS specifically. Stick it in there. So I guess this would be Okay, I'm just thinking a little bit here. Okay, so we have this travel pop-up. We need to look for fuel selection, perhaps. Maybe fuel selector. If I remember this correctly, you can do something like fuel selector. Now I never remember when is it gonna be a I think it's just then add a straight fuel selector dot, and then we can do things like this. Right, I think we can do that, but I almost don't want to do that. Because I'm pretty sure I have this icon selector pop up in a few places, but I don't know where exactly they are living currently. So let's see. Not in the construction panel. Courier job element. No. Logistics. No. Okay, node panel certainly has icon selector. Okay, and many things. Okay, so what I should do, I think I should move icon selector to my default on my persistent panel. Let's do that. Let's take it out of there. And then it either needs to be in persistent panel, which is at the top, or in my default view. My default theme here. There we know the icon selector things are going to be applied to everything. And then if I want to do something specific with it, I can add some USS on the side. Okay, but let's see if that at least does what I think it should. Okay, use external changes. Let's take a sip of this coffee. Okay, so let's see. First of all, if I go there and change my... okay. Now that looks not amazing. I'll be honest. So it's underneath some of the other things, but at least it's got icons and stuff now. Okay, and it changes there as well. Okay. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to add it. Okay, yeah, so the thing is, these things are different levels, right? Yeah, so I need to add something that's at the bottom. So something like a pop-up holder inside my pop-up would be an idea. So I could just call this the selector pop-up holder. Let's be specific about it. Let's call it the fuel selector pop-up holder. Right, and then I can tell it exactly where I want it to be. So we'll make it absolute. Then we can move it. So we can say, okay, look, I want you to go and overlay somewhere there. Right, that'll do. Now all we need to do is just copy that so that we have the name and we don't make a typo. Go over here. Do a private. I probably don't need a reference. No, I don't. Yeah, what I can do here is I can do root container.q visual element, look for this thing. Right, that's where I want you to put this fuel selector pop-up. That's essentially what that is. We save it. Now, a few things I want to do. This pop-up itself shouldn't be selectable. So picking mode, ignore. It's ignored. Okay. Yeah. So it's just there for the pop-up to display in the correct place. And we could do something like, you know, center stuff or whatever if we want to. Let's see if that looks a little bit better. And now, at least, it's going to be on top of everything else. Because it's going to generate the pop-up inside of that thing, which should overlay all the rest of the UI. Okay, so I click there. Yeah, that's way better, right? Okay, so we can go industrial chemicals or advanced volatile matter. So we can use our volatile, you can type here, so I can do like 1,500. Oh, it actually didn't update that time. Okay. There's another small little bug. When you finish typing, it doesn't update, it only updates with the buttons. Okay. Okay, there we burn almost all our volatile matter for that trip over there. Okay, so let's just go see. You know what? I did think about this. Yeah, what we should do is fuel allocation dot register value changed callback. Right. Event, I think something like this, right? Yeah, and basically what I should do once this happens is I should tell my view model fuel allocation changed. Yeah. View model dot fuel allocation changed, and I should give it event dot new value. There we go. So yeah, when you click the plus and minus button, it updates that fuel allocation, but it doesn't do that with the typing. Okay. Let's check it out. Okay, so if I go here and I type 5,000. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. I type like that, or I click. It's amazing how much better the other fuels are because it's a 50 to 1. 50 times more better. Okay, but let's imagine we'd use volatile matter here. I should make this like one container so it looks succinct or whatever the word is. Oh, you can actually just change your travel like this. Ah, that's amazing actually. I didn't even think I did that. Well, now that's not a feature I intended, but it's a good feature. Yeah, so moving around here, it's actually not bad, right? It's just a few seconds. As soon as you move out there, it takes quite a while. And if you want to move like here, even more of a while. Like Neptune over here is going to take forever. Yeah, but that's good because... Hey, Brody. Yeah, can you believe it, eh? 3 streams in a row. And I'm making good progress. Okay, so this is working pretty well. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, there's some other issues, but we'll get past it. Yeah, I was drawing it in Paint yesterday. Yeah, but it works pretty well. So if you click on Vulcan and you want to go to Jupiter, it's like, hey, confirm your travel. Where are you going? Okay, and then you can change your amount of fuel allocation. You can type here if you want to. It tells you how long it's going to take. You can change the type of fuel. Very good. And obviously the better fuel will get you there much faster. I don't have that much of this, but anyway. Boom. Shoof. There we go. Very nice. Burned half my fuel, but it's fine. And now the interesting thing is, you can almost never be stranded entirely. Unless you really have no fuel. Like I can burn 50 volatile matter and it will move. Because it's space, right? We just use a little bit of fuel. So we don't have a lot of delta V, but we had some. And since there's no friction, you will get there eventually. But as you can see, you can't see because we are moving so slowly. Even if I do 10 times multiplier on the game time, 100 times, now we move. So yeah, I think that's kind of nice. So we've done the first thing for Vulcan that I wanted to do. Okay, now we need to do some of the other things. Okay, so this is the fuel consumption and pop-up and all that good stuff. Complete. How do I put a tick mark here? Let's put an X in there. Slowly catch a monkey. What? Okay. That's a strange saying. It's probably an Australian thing. Although, why would you say that? There's no monkeys in Australia, is there? Oh, he's a South African. Okay, it makes more sense now. Okie dokie. So, fix Vulcan regional transitions. We can do this. This should be easy. I believe this should be easy. Possum, snakes, and kangaroos. Nice. Now, we also have a bunch of snakes. No kangaroos. I don't think they are possum. But I mean, it's Africa, so we pretty much got all the animals except for the speciality animals that you guys have. Okay. So I don't think we need to do the anchoring system right now. That could be our next thing. So let's fix this regional transition story for Vulcan. Right, so basically, and I can show this very simply. Here's the problem currently. So, come on. Come on. So if you click on Earth now, you can see, oh, there's Vulcan. Look at that. It's hovering around Earth. Okay, great stuff. But if you click on Mercury, you can also see Vulcan. So the position of this Vulcan here, this regional view of Vulcan, is not linked to the solar system map at all. It's just it's just there always. So we need to fix that. Yeah, you can clearly see this is a problem. It's at Venus, it's at Mars. Mars doesn't exist actually. I should really add Mars, but anyway, yeah. So that's the problem. And then obviously you can imagine if I move between the planets, guess what? It's still at Earth. So that's basically what we need to fix. What I'm thinking I want to do, so let's imagine, yeah, this is the scene. So what I think would be nice is, when you move Vulcan, it kind of does. Oh, hello, can I click on Vulcan here, please? This one. So when you go somewhere, I kind of wanted to plot a course off screen. So move off screen. Is that even necessary? I don't think so. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's gonna move, like if you're looking at the game from this perspective, right? It's pretty much instantly gone from Mars. Right, by the time I get a chance to click on Mars, it could just have disappeared. So I think I'm just going to do that and then make it reappear wherever. Yeah, you're not going to see it. Like, I can have this whole thing animating or whatever moving out of the screen. But you're going to miss it entirely every time. So what we'll do is we'll just have it disappear from this place, for instance, and have it appear over here. Okay, so let's see how that happens. So first of all, the regional Vulcan, all my regions live in the same space at the same time. So you can actually overlay them if you just show them, right? So now I have Mercury, Venus, and Earth all overlaid. So that's a thing. And then Vulcan is just there. So it's always in the same place, but I should make it disappear while we are traveling between regions and reappear when it arrives at a region. And I should make it appear at one of the, I guess, just appear at one of the outposts or whatever. Right? Maybe just the first sub-region. Like for Earth, it would be that sub-region, and then maybe for like Jupiter. Damn. Would be that sub-region. Yes, that's fine. Okay. So let's get started. Okay, we can close this USS, this USS, this one. Icon selector is fine. Oh, I actually needed to check if my icon selector isn't broken in some other ways. Okay, this is done. This is done. Okay, this might not be done. Yeah, okay, so this is the traveling Vulcan view. This is actually this script over here, which has reference to these two. And we'll probably want Vulcan region view. Okay. So what I think we should do okay, it has a reference to Vulcan region. We can open this, see what this means. Okay, Vulcan region itself doesn't do much really. It's just for moving around. Okay, let's see. So, we have Vulcan solar system and we have start system travel. So, we could, I suppose, we can work with the state. So, when the state is being set, travel in solar system. So, that means we are currently traveling in the solar system. And, you know, we could just, I think we have, yeah, we do that with set state. So, we can very easily have a centralized place for there to be a I already have an event, so on state change already happens. Okay, so what I could do very simply is just listen to this state change on this side potentially, and then just have it do the correct things. Right, so we could just do this. We can go Vulcan region dot Vulcan dot on state changed. Okay, do something like that, and we can ask it, you know, what kind of state are we changing? So we can do travel in solar system. So if okay, now I need to get the state, so I'm going to have to do this nonsense again. Well, whatever. Dot Vulcan dot state equals travel in solar system. So if we travel in solar system, we essentially want do I not have a reference to my well, I could just do transform well, could I just do game object dot set active false, right? That's simple enough to make it disappear. I believe so. And then we get to, let's see, so we arrive, so we move about, oh no, that's not the one I want. Okay, we do anchor in region, apparently. So set state dot is equal to idle. Okay, so this is now an important one. We don't want the idle state because there's a few ways the idle state could occur. It's when you finish construction, you can go into idle. Yeah, so we need to be careful about this one. Yeah, this is a little bit more complicated because... Unless we just make different events and we don't try and reuse the state event. Might be cleaner. Okay, let's try that instead. Also not really a fan about this view not having access to Vulkan directly. This one also really doesn't do much. I kind of just want to control it from here, to be honest. I kind of like it being centralized like that. Okay, so let's do a public event action. Let's just call it on move. On solar move. Changed something like that. Oops. I kind of just want to give it a boolean, which is start moving or not moving. So on solar move changed. So true if we are moving and false if we stopped. So then we can do something like on solar move changed, invoke true. So we started moving, and here we can do false. We stopped moving, right? That's simple enough. And what we can then do is we can easily go Vulkan solar system view dot on no Vulkan dot do something like that. You know what, I'm not gonna do it here. I'm gonna do it in the regional view, because if I start doing stuff like that now, I'm gonna get confused. Okay, so oh my word, can we just not do that? Okay, so that is something. Okay, so this is basically is moving. And then we can just do if is moving. Now we can do game object dot set active false, and if else, just else, you can do game object dot set active. Oh, we can just do this actually. That's so clever. Didn't think about that, yeah. So whatever, so if it's true, then this is off, and otherwise it's on. Okay. Okay, that might be nice, but I think I'm gonna leave it this way. Reason is because I want to do some other stuff here. So what I want to do here is I actually want to change my position to be the anchor point for the first sub-region. Right, so once we get here, so the question would be, so we are anchoring in the region. Okay, so my question would be, would I be able to get the sub-region? So let's just check. So let's suppose we arrive at Earth and I want to go to sub-region 1. So each sub-region has this anchor position, and I basically want to set my position to equal to that. So how would I be able to access the sub-region? So there's a list of sub-regions. We could just grab the first one. Right, but this region zoom view is not accessible to Vulkan directly. Well, not necessarily anyway. Huh. So how do I move? So I normally... So I get a sub-region view target to move to. Okay, that comes from the sub-region itself, which I clicked on, right? Alt-click, yes. Okay, we can ask this helper, I suppose, the region presentation helper. This at least has a list of the zoom views. And it is a instance, so it's globally accessible. So that could give me this if I can give it at least a region ID, which I should be able to do, right? because the region ID is shared between the actual region as well as the zoom view. And the region ID would be known by Vulkan because it's moving, right? Yeah, okay, so let's just make sure when we arrive, so when this is set to false, our start region, that's where we started, gets set to our target region. So what we could do is we can either ask it for its start region, or when we anchor in the region, our current region gets set to region. So we can ask Vulkan or we can ask Vulkan Solar System. Either one of those could work. I'm almost thinking about doing something like passing a region instead, right? On solar, move changed. Then what we do here is we give it the target region, right? And here we also give it the target region, but now it's null. Right, or we just give it null, maybe. Okay, that works, but now what we can do over here in our Vulkan region view, somewhere, yeah. So here we can have a region, and this is the region target region. And then we can say if target region is, not equal to null, we can switch it off and then we can switch it on later. But now here's the critical part. We need to store the target region somewhere, or at least the ID of the target region. So what we could do is something like private region ID. And this is my target region ID. You know what? Let's just store the region. Okay, and all I have to do now is when I get a target region, I go okay, if target region is not equal to null, we can do target region. No, this dot target region actually. So okay, we set our target region. If it is equal to null, then we need to private void. I don't even need a function for this. This is such a simple thing. So essentially all we need to do is we can go to the little helper region presentation helper dot instance dot now we need to figure out what we need to get. Region zoom view list. Oh wait, this is just the list. Okay. So let's ask it for public region zoom view, get region zoom view, and let's give it a region ID. We'll just do one of those. If view dot region name, is this now the region name? I actually don't know. Yes, it is. Okay, so if that happens, return view. Else we just return null. So if we can't find that particular region. Okay, so then this guy just needs to do and we give it the target region dot ID. Boom. Okay, so we got our zoom view. Do we need this zoom view? We actually need the sub-region view. And we particularly want the Volca anchor point. So actually, we actually need to do a couple of things here. Just realized that if we update it from this side, we also need to update it on the simulation side. Right. Okay, maybe I'm doing this the wrong way around. So maybe if I'm doing it from the presentations, the simulation side, I get the position. This still kind of comes from there, so I don't know if that... Yeah, the anchor, there is an anchor position in the sub-region. This thing knows, each sub-region knows what its anchor position is. And it gets that from here, when we connect the logic between them. And the region okay, so let's see if we can drive this from the... Yeah, the region also has a list of... or a dictionary of subregions, actually. Okay, so maybe we do this a little bit differently. Yeah, maybe we let the simulation connect. And then yeah, I think that's better. We do all the work on the simulation side, and then we just simply connect the view side. Let's do the hard work on the simulation side. I think that's the correct way. Okay, so let's think about this again. Okay, so we have this Vulcan region. Okay, so on solar system moved, invoke. Now, honestly, I feel like we could just have a something like public void hide region view, essentially. So this can get called, and then all we need to do really is I'll rename this in a bit. Well, we could do public event on change region view visible. This is an action with a Boolean. Just something like that. And now what I think we should do is when the movement happens here, we don't invoke this necessarily unless it's useful for something else. But I think what we should do is we should just let the region view or the regional Vulcan know, listen, something happened. Okay, so something like move in solar system, and we get a region target. Okay, just something like that. Move in solar system, and we get a target region, right? So all we need to do here now is go Vulcan dot Vulcan region move in solar system. So we kind of just let it know we are moving in solar system. And we give it a target region. And we could actually work with the state there. Yeah, I think the state there would work fine because this is more central. Maybe not. Let's say move to new. Okay, we get the target region. And essentially what I want to do is I just want to move this to the first sub-region. Yeah. So I want to get the sub-region. And I want to say this is equal to target region dot subregions dot first. Value. right? We just want to get the first value. I think that is... Okay, that is fine. And then what we want to do is this Vulkan.set subregion. Not necessarily. So we want to make the position equal to the Vulkan anchor position, and something like that. So we moved it to the correct position. And we can hide it now, but then we need to unhide it again. Right, so we can do public void hide view. Right, and on change region view visible, we can just invoke this with a false. Okay, and then we can just do a show view. I don't really like this, I'll be honest. This feels like something that should be living inside of the view itself. But I guess we need the view to know somehow that it needs to show and hide itself. And whether it should be showing or hiding itself could be determined by this, I guess. Okay. So move to new region. Okay, so this happens. As soon as we move to new region, we do hide view. Right, so we do that. We hide the view. Now, as soon as we arrive at the new region, so that would be anchor in region. What we'll do is we'll do Vulkan region dot show view, right? Because we've arrived at our new destination, we need to do show view. But we also need to set our current subregion. So what we could do is we could do target subregion equals to this subregion. Right, when we move to new region. Does Vulkan itself have a subregion? Yeah, okay. Okay, so when we anchor in a region, we need to do said subregion, and we can get the target subregion if we want to, or we could just do current region dot sub-regions dot first or default dot value. Right, same idea. Yeah, so we set our sub-region, set the state to idle again, which doesn't really mean much, but anyway. Okay, I think that will work. Okay, let's see what my view does. Region view. So we initialize it, that's fine. I'm more concerned about the update. If Vulkan region is equal to null return. Travel in region. Okay, that's when we update the position. Okay, that makes sense for the most part. Okay, so we don't want to do this or this. Okay, so what we want to do here is Vulkan region dot on change view visible. Okay, so basically like that. And if, so we would just want to do if visible. Right, so the moment we make it visible, we want to do game object set active true. But we also want to do this over here. We want to make sure our position is correct the moment we are visible. So this doesn't really affect much. It's just one tick of setting the position. Okay, we just need to make sure that the position is good. And then if not visible, then obviously we do false. Okay, and if you look at Vulkan regional, the position was set here when we hide it, right? But as soon as we show it, the position hasn't changed. So that's fine. We can just show it then and get the position, the correct position. Okay, I think that makes sense. Simplifies things a little bit on this side, which I think is the goal. I don't think we should make it. The view should never have a bunch of logic, right? View should feel very simple. It just sets stuff straight from the simulation. The simulation is the thing that does the thinking. I think this is better for that. Okay, so this could work. You know what? You know what? I'm just thinking about this now, but okay, we can. Yeah, my problem is things like if you move to a region and you set your sub-region immediately and not only on arrival, what that's going to do I don't think this thing should do it. But what that's going to do is it might cause it to start mining or whatever. There's another layer of this that I need to do. But I think when we do anchor in region, that's probably when I should do Vulkan region dot move Vulkan to new region, and I should give it this region. And then I show it. So I move, then I show. And then maybe hiding it. We do on a state change. I think that makes sense. So if state equals state dot travel in solar system, then the Vulkan region dot hide view. Something like that makes a little bit more sense. So we hide the view. I wonder if we should do this instead. Public out of current region. This might make more sense because that way we can make our you know what, actually we should do it not there but here. Travel in solar system, then current sub-region must be equal to null. Yes. Okay. So as soon as we start to travel in the solar system, we hide the region view and we set our current sub-region to null, because it just makes sense. We will set our current sub-region back to something as soon as we arrive at our destination. And in fact, what if we did this instead? I think that's even better. We move to new region, we give it the current sub-region. And then we show the view. Yeah, I think that makes even more sense. Okay, and nothing changed on this side. No, everything still works. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, so when I click on Earth, it's there. Oh, wait, and that's the other problem, I guess. Okay, clicking on the things, I need to check. The region. Okay, but let's see if at least when I move, it goes away. So let's move over there. We can go a little faster than that, 30 seconds. Okay, confirm. So now if I click here, I can clearly still see. Okay, so that did nothing. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, wait. I think I know what I did. Wait. Okay, wait. No, I hit the wrong thing, yeah. I hit this thing, but I should hide the visual. Now, wait a minute. If I hide this whole thing, right? Yeah, the whole thing goes away. So why does it not hide? Yeah, I do a hide view immediately when oh, wait a minute. Okay, I see now. When I set the state, there's a bunch of things that could go wrong. So state is not constructing. So technically, I should do this here. Should do it twice. Okay, so the state doesn't necessarily reach. It doesn't necessarily reach that statement over there. Okay, so that's the first problem. So now the hide view should occur. Okay, and also, so when I click on a region view, this one here, when I click on a region view, it checks on click, show region, region name, right? Reason presentation helper, show region, region name. Okay. Okay, let's go here, show region, region name. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to have a way of hiding this thing as well. Not just during travels. So there should be something like a public void. Something like show region view incorrect. Okay, so show region view. Now let's think about this. Region presentation helper. It gets a region ID. Right, is this thing like an instance? Yes, it is. So what I can do here is I can certainly go region presentation helper.instance .on. Wait, is there a... No, there's nothing here. Okay, so what I want to do here is a public event action. Okay, show region view. This is the zoom view that I want to show, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of want to have the region ID in here. Right, so what that means is... So right here, when I set something active, I want to go show region zoom view, invoke region name, right? Something like that. So now anything that wants to know which region are we showing, can do something like this. Okay. And then also since it's an event, I want an on in there as well. Okay. Okay, so something like this, and we get the ID. Okay. So we should be able to check Vulkan. Okay, so let's just make sure when we move for Vulkan, does the region... Okay, let's just see. So Vulkan... We can check the state. Okay, so if the state says travel in solar system, we cannot show. Right? Otherwise, we can check current region. So then it will have a current region. If it's not traveling in solar system, it should have a current region. So when we start travel, we do set current region to null. Okay, that's good. So then at least we know if it's null, that's also a potential. When we arrive in the region, our current region is set because we anchor in region, right? Okay, so we can check for null as well. I think that's probably not a bad idea. Okay, so we can do if Vulkan dot current region equals null. Well, that's easy enough. If we are not currently in a region and you clicked on it, then game object set active false. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. Honestly though, it should be false already, but we can just do it anyway. Okay, now the other thing we want to do is then if Vulkan region.vulkan.current region.id equals my ID, then we can do game object dot set active true, else false. Okay. Something straightforward like that should be fine. So every time we click on a region to show it, we tell the regional view, listen, do I show you as well? Maybe, maybe not. I think that's straightforward enough. Okay. Let's save. Let's give it a go. A couple of things that weren't working before, but let's see if this is now better. Okay, so first of all, click there, Vulkan is there. Click there, no Vulkan. No Vulkan. No Vulkan. Fantastic. Okay, we click on Vulkan and we move to Jupiter, let's say. We can go a little bit faster, but now if I click here, oh, interesting. Now I get a null reference exception error. Click here, I also get one. I click there now. Okay, now I can see Vulkan Park there, Jupiter. Okay, so it looks like while it's traveling, we have a problem. Okay, let's see what the problem is. So while we're traveling, oh, it's trying this as well. Okay, no, this should just be return. Yeah, if it fails this, it's return. We shouldn't try this as well. Okay, my bad. My bad. Should be better now. Okay, so clicking there, it still shows. Let's go there. Some better fuel, maybe less. Okay, so if I click on Earth now, it's not there. It's not there. It's not there. Okay, that's great. Now let's see, while I'm looking at this and it arrives, will I see it arrive? Okay, so there we go. It arrived. That's a little bit of a problem, right? Also started mining immediately. Okay, yeah. So maybe I do want a little bit of a transition here. I don't think it's super necessary right now, but one day maybe. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, also. Okay, no, never mind. It's okay. Oh, I have multiple active. That's the problem. Okay, cool. So, we've done the next thing on our list. Let's go to our list. Fix Vulcan transition. Remove, ensure only exists in one region at a time. Spawn in the first available subregion. We did exactly that. Okay, fantastic. Now, the anchoring system. Okay. So essentially what this is I want the player to make a choice on whether they want to anchor or not, to enable things like mining and logistics or whatever. I'm thinking about this. Construction is also probably one of the things we should be able to do only when anchored. Now, the main problem this solves is, well, it's a few things. First of all, Vulcan won't just automatically start mining things when it arrives at a subregion, right? Which I think it's good, because you don't just want it to start strip mining whatever it arrives at. So I think for that reason it's a good idea. And then with the logistics, you know, when ships are flying back and forth, if Vulcan all of a sudden moves while there were like 5 ships on their way to Vulcan, it could cause issues, right? Because now I could just make it that the ships can follow Vulcan around, right? But the thing is, Vulcan could potentially go much faster than any logistics ship for a start, because we can change the amount of fuel we want to use, etc. So that's the first thing we need to consider. It could just run away from the logistics ships. Also, the way I'm modeling or I'm simulating travel is, it's a big, it's an initial burn, right? So you burn a bunch of fuel, you point your rocket or your spaceship or your cargo vessel in a direction, and we go that direction. When we get close, we do a reversed burn or a deceleration burn, and then we can stop at our target. So it's not like we have fuel to do maneuvering while we are inbound to a destination, right? So, and that's why it's very important that Vulcan doesn't move out of the way, because that would mean any ships that were on their way need to be able to maneuver. So I don't think that's a good idea. So rather you have to unanchor, and it might tell you, listen, there are a few ships still on their way, and then you can wait for them. You might be able to unanchor, but it might have a progress bar or something that just shows you, look, there's a couple of ships still coming this way, but it disables your logistics in the meantime and your mining, just so that there won't be new ships being sent. Yeah. Okay, before we get into that, let's take a break. Yeah, this one. Okay, let me go get some coffee, and I'll be right back. Well, it takes a while to get coffee, but I'll be back as soon as possible. I'm back. That took a while. The coffee didn't want to make itself. Okay, let's get this thing off. Okay, let's see. Implement Vulkan anchoring system. Okay, so I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's essentially a new state that I have to add and a way to set the state and then have other things occur when the state is set. And by other things, I mean like the logistics should pause automatically and maybe even things like and mining should pause automatically. Production, I don't think needs to pause. Construction, obviously, should not be able to take place. Okay, so let's see. Let's do construction. Those are mining, logistics, construction. Processing and production can still go on. Yeah. So let's go and figure this out. So the first thing, I guess, is just adding a state to Vulkan. Okay, so we need to be careful now. We can be idle. Idle simply means we are sitting inside a place. We are in a region somewhere, at a sub-region, and we're not doing anything there. Right, not anything that requires anything specific. Constructing, I feel like, is a secondary state that can only occur when we are and we can only go into the constructing state when we are anchored. So since it's a secondary state, anchored means effectively something different than idle, and obviously something different than traveling. So I feel like I need to get rid of this state, potentially. It's a secondary state. It's what we are doing while constructing. Okay. So the construction node tells Vulkan that it is constructing. So since it's a secondary state, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this be a Boolean is constructing. Right? And then instead of setting the state, we can do a public void set constructing. Constructing. Okay, so we can do is constructing equals constructing, something like that. And then we take away constructing as a state. And we're going to replace it with a new state, but yeah, we'll see now. So this obviously breaks a bunch of stuff. So the construction node, for instance, it is also doing an is constructing. Okay, so I don't want to do this actually. What I want to do is I want to go to vulkan.is set constructing with value. So as simple as that, we just set the constructing state to Vulkan as well. So both this constructing and that constructing knows what's up. And I think that fixes this part. Okay. Okay, I know that's not true. Vulcan is just broken. So let's get rid of this. Okay, so new state. Okay, so our new state is going to be anchored. Oh, Mig, how's it going, man? Thanks for the raid. Anchored. No, I'm doing well, thank you. How's things with you? Huh? Are you doing well? Okay, so now we have an anchored state. Okay, so now we need to make sure. Yeah, we need to remove the anchored state, essentially. But you can't just remove it. There needs to be some specific way that you remove the anchored state. Okay, so we'll see about that now. You doing well? Ah, it's fantastic, man. I'm happy. Yeah, I've been struggling to get time available to stream lately. It's an ongoing theme, I'm telling you. But I think I've got something sorted out now, so I should be here more often. But we'll see how it goes, right? That's why I say now, and then a couple of weeks from now, I completely disappear off the face of the planet again for how long ever. Yeah, the scheduling thing, it's fine. I keep thinking back to the days when I was childless, let's say. Back then, schedules were easy. Nowadays, yes, like it's very difficult to get a schedule working without kids. With kids. What's up, Brody? Why are you saying no? Okay, so I think I want to do, if state equals state dot state dot anchored, we just return. Shrill Duck 41. What am I doing? Okay, so I'm building a little space logistics game. Yeah, that's not a very good view. You know, something like this. Very, very straightforward. Nothing too fancy. The main idea here is imagine you played a 4X game, right? Now, obviously, 4X games have many complicated systems, you know, politics and blah, 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 and all kinds of things. This one kind of doesn't have any of that. But what you do have to manage is resource gathering, processing, and logistics, right? Getting the resources around. So as opposed to typical games of this nature where resources just kind of teleported wherever you needed them, here you have to actually move it around, right? So it's all about getting ships to fly the resources between the planets. Later on, we'll have like maybe some more advanced mechanisms to getting things around, like a mass driver, you know, just throwing the resources into space in a particular direction and hoping it reaches where you want it to go. Stuff like that, but you know, that's kind of the fantasy here. So it's a simulation management type game, where the main focus is going to be, can you manage the logistics, and can you make the logistics system work? Now, I'm not going to make it super complicated. There's a lot of stuff I do in the background for calculating and deciding where to send ships. So it's not like you are manually assigning like cargo ships to go to specific places, because I feel that that's too much friction. Because at the end of the day, I still want it to be, you know, kind of like a relatively chill game, that makes sense. Are there going to be 2 trillion galaxies? Okay, no. So the planets you don't land on currently, but what you do, or at least the way I have it set up now, is something like this, where each region, which is a planet and a few other things, you go around and you build these outposts, right? So here's Earth, and there's 4 outpost positions available. And basically all those outposts are then doing things like processing the materials or mining the particular celestial body it's orbiting. Like, if you build an outpost next to the moon, like here, you should be able to mine the moon, right? But I don't want to make it... I'm not going another zoom level in, right? So that outpost is mining the moon, and that's it, right? We're not actually going to the moon and then placing a miner and stuff like that. I guess if I can get... If you bear with me for 2 seconds, or maybe 2 minutes, I should be able to get it working again, because I just broke it. And then we can have a look, because most of these mechanics actually work already. And then I can demonstrate, not just talk about it. Thanks, Runeglaze Donut. Runeglaze Donut. That sounds amazing. Yeah, so, and also the scale is going to be our solar system. So what you see is the solar system, and that's kind of where it's going to stay. End game, what I'm trying to do, what you're working towards, and this won't be obvious at the start of the game, but as you progress and you get more and more situated at the edge of the solar system, so you've got more infrastructure out here, you might at some point find a wormhole at the solar system's edge, right? Somewhere here. Now, obviously, it's not shown yet, but that's the idea. And then that phase of the game becomes, can you harness all your logistics and manufacturing and production capabilities in such a way that you can get through the wormhole? So by getting through the wormhole, I mean, you need to build some kind of a mega structure to make the wormhole stable and safe to traverse. And then end of the game is you go through the wormhole and it's like, what now? And now you could then set yourself up for a game where, you know, we do interstellar travel with these wormholes. So I could, in theory, then go and say, okay, this wormhole actually takes you to a different solar system. We set up that solar system, and now we have an interstellar travel system going on here through wormholes and blah, 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 blah. Dyson Sphere, maybe? Inspired, perhaps, yes. There's another game that's actually quite cool, Slipways, which is also kind of an inspiration. Omni Giovanni, how's it? Actually, I can't say it's an inspiration. I only learned about the game like 2 days ago, so... yeah, but that's the idea. But currently the kind of the fantasy I want to get going here is you're trying to industrialize space, and you know, resources need to be transported. You don't just get a massive resource pool and you know, that's kind of everything is available everywhere at all times. Like if you want fuel at Jupiter because all of your cargo ships are stranded, you need to send the fuel to Jupiter. So that's kind of the idea. So there's a failure mechanism in that if you mismanage your logistics or don't produce enough of a certain material, you could get into like a kind of a deadlock situation. But yeah, it's getting somewhere. Okay, so let's try and fix this, and then we could potentially even show the game work. Okay, so if it's not constructing, so first of all, if it's anchored, we return. So I actually want to do a public void unanchor. Brody, when can you wishlist it? My man. Flippin' 20 years from now. Hopefully not, but just like unanchor. Jeez, this word. What did I call it? Yeah, unanchor. This is what I did. Unanchor. So this is a very specific thing that I need to call, and it kind of bypasses the set state method. So what we can do here is if our current state is anchored, we can set it to state.idle. Okay, so that's no idle. That's the idea. Okay, so that's a very specific type of state. Now let's see these ones. So constructing is not a state anymore. Okay, I could actually get rid of most of this. Yes, I can. Actually, all of that is now no longer required. So we can set our new state to whatever it needs to be, provided we are not anchored. If we want to unanchor, we need to do it via this. And we should also just make sure we invoke a state changed in this case. Okay. Wow, that might have been the fastest fix ever. Okay, no, wait, there's a few other places we need to check. So anchored. So we not check if we're busy with construction, check if we are anchored. Yeah, there's probably another place this is gonna break, but I'll figure it out now. So constructing is a secondary state now. It's not a primary state, so that's why it's not part of that anymore. But I do also think for unanchoring, we need to be in the anchored state, first of all. But we should also maybe check that we are not currently busy with the construction. Okay, but I'll figure that out now. Let me just make sure all the errors are gone. And then I can actually play the game. Let's see it play. There's still a lot of user experience type of things we need to do. So you won't be seeing any sound effects happening or even visual effects for that matter. We basically just have a very bare bones game visually, but the systems in the background are quite complex at the moment, specifically for the logistics and stuff like that. Okay, but anyway, this is the idea. So we can go ahead and take Vulcan to the moon. So Vulcan is kind of like your capital ship. It's a massive mega structure of a ship, and the point of Vulcan is to be it is the player, not really, but it is the ship that kicks off our space industrialization. So it's got the capacity to do things like build logistics hubs, like that one it just built there, as well as outposts. So now it built an outpost, and for some reason it didn't change my UI. Okay, so that's weird. There's a bug. But okay, so here we have an outpost, and I can click on it, and you can see kind of what the outpost is capable of doing, which is nothing. It's just got a power node, so it can generate power. So I can now And all this needs to be animated, or something cool needs to happen when you click these buttons, but that's another day's problem. So we can build nodes, so I can build extraction, processing, and research, for instance. And now if I go to the outpost, you can see the outpost now has this functionality added. Okay, but just because you can extract doesn't mean you are extracting. You also have modules which you need to produce. So each of the functions have different ways of doing the function. So extracting, for instance, that's mining, right? So you can do surface mining, deep mining, or maybe even volatile extraction, which is a special type of mining which is specifically for things like gases and liquids and even liquefiables, right? Ice and stuff like that. Well, that's at least the fantasy. So based on the type of extraction you want to specialize in, that's the type of modules you build. So in this case, for the moon, I can do deep extraction. I can build one of those. And I can do maybe surface extraction. So this is just like a production queue. And that's also another thing. Vulcan is specialized. It's, at least in the fantasy of the game, Vulcan is the capital ship with, it's got a crew. People are on board. So doing complicated things like building these new modules, you can't automate that away. You need some people still in the workshops hammering away at it, right? So that's at least the fantasy. So that's why things like production stay on Vulcan. These modules, however, can be installed in outposts, and they are somewhat autonomous. So, you know, they can do their mining thing on their own. They don't need people, but they can't do complicated things like build new modules. That's at least the idea. Okay, so I can show you something else that's cool. So if we take Vulcan now, we go to Jupiter, for instance. We have a travel screen that comes up. So we're like, okay, cool. We want to go to Jupiter. How fast do you want to get there? It's up to you. You can select a fuel type. So depending on if you've refined your fuels or your volatiles sufficiently, you can get them to be more effective, right? But you can just burn the volatiles straight. Not very effective. In this case, we'll go with advanced propellants because I want to get there fast. 21 seconds seems good enough to me. Boom. So we go there. Okay, we fly. La la la. There goes Vulcan. Okay, now if we go back to Earth, it's not here anymore, but the outpost still is. And it should be arriving at Jupiter and parking at one of the regions or sub-regions. There we go. Okay. Now, and this is the thing. So you need modules to actually have this thing work, right? And I forgot to install modules when I was in this area. Okay, so that might be a problem, but we have a courier network that can deliver modules. So if I go to extraction and I'm like, oh look, there are 2 modules available in the courier network as a whole. A deep extraction and a surface extraction. Because I just made them on Vulcan, but they are still on Vulcan. I forgot to unload them. But that's not a problem. I can order it. Boom. And here we can see if fuel becomes critical, can you start burning crewmates? Not quite. Yeah, but you can see there's a shipment incoming, and if you go to this the screen, you can actually see the little courier guy. He's just a red dot, but he's moving about. So the visuals are going to be pretty straightforward. I don't want to make it too complicated, but like you can imagine, once you've got a nice logistics systems, many of these outposts and things going on, you're going to see all these nice little colored dots moving about. So it's going to be visually, I'm very inspired by games like Mini Motorways with the simplicity of the visuals. I don't know if I'm able to make a game that simple while still being good, but I'm going to try and see how simplistic I can make the visuals while still making it satisfying to look at. So yeah, good luck to me, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, we can now check here and we can see, oh, look at that. It's got an extraction module. And if I want the deep extraction, I can order that one as well. If I want to go to processing, oh, I never built anything for processing and research or power. Okay, well, we can go to Vulkan and we can tell it to build. I think I need to build power. If I don't have power, nothing's going to work. So let's build a fusion reactor. Let's build 2, in fact. And we should also be able to build. Okay, let's get that power incoming. Okay, there we go. That's our last courier. Now, this is where some of the more complicated systems in the background start kicking in. I've sent 3 couriers over here now, and they kind of just went here and they sat down and they're like, I've done my thing. So what I need to do next is I need to build in some kind of a logic to allow the couriers to relocate, right? Or, and this is what I currently do, is when there's a courier job that gets, created and there's no couriers available, I automatically scan the whole solar system, find the best or closest courier to schedule a pickup. So it comes, it'll go to where the item is, pick it up, and then deliver. So I have that kind of thing in the background going. Okay, so I think this thing is, yes. So it's actively producing resources. You can see it's producing a lot of mineral ores and heavy metals, right? So these are all our resources. But it's burning through volatile matter at an alarming rate. And it's doing that because in the fantasy of the game, we are mining the moon. But I mean, we still need to get the materials from the moon back up to our lunar orbit at least, right? So we are constantly, and one day I'll have little ships fly down to the moon, right? You'll physically be able to see the activity. Right now it's very stale. But you'll see the activity of the things moving back and forth, spending the fuel, trying to get the resources from the moon like it's doing now. But now you might ask yourselves, okay, well, what if I don't have fuel anymore? Well, that's where the logistics hub comes in. So I can go to this logistics hub and I can click on logistics and I can request a fuel import. I can add an import. I can tell it, look, I want, ooh, yes, this looks ugly now. UI is difficult. Okay, but I want volatile matter. How much do I want? 5,000 maybe, 2,500. Okay, accept and pause. So now there's an import request at this specific node, right? Or at this region. But there's no place that exports volatile matter. Fortunately, Vulkan itself, which is, again, the big fancy ship, is also part of the logistics network, and it can export its excess fuel. So we can go here and we can have an export of fuel. And this amount now is basically the amount of fuel you want to keep on Vulkan at all times. So let's keep like 5,000. We accept and we unpause. Yes. Now there's some balancing problems that I still need to do. There's a bunch of balancing issues in the game. So you'll notice there's a bunch of blue dots. Those are freighters. So they are responsible for, delivering resources. And they are on their way to Earth to drop off the fuel. Yeah, they are. But this is now where I need to fix my balancing or whatever, because these are very slow. Right, this is kind of ridiculous if you don't. But they are going. And again, this is now where it gets interesting because, okay, cool, they're going. But as they go, what I've done is this logistics hub can see, okay, I have an import of 2,500. It knows how much it has currently, which is 2. There's 2 volatile matter. But it can also see how much it has inbound. So it will not continuously request more resources if there are already a bunch on the way. And there are about 3,000. I think each of these are 1,000 capacity. So we should be having 3,000 reach there eventually. Unfortunately, this type of game will have a speed up button, but I don't have that, so I just fake it. So now the game's at 10 times speed, so now things fly a little bit faster. But while Vulcan is here, we can set up a logistics hub. And we can set up an outpost. Yeah, there's something wrong here. Normally it would automatically allow me to build the next thing. Okay, so I want to put an extraction node over here. Skeptical orange. Oh, there's a little browser game like this. Cool. Yeah, so this would be the higher fidelity version of that game. Better graphics, better lights, better sound effects, hopefully one day. Yeah. It's very slow now. It's difficult to demo currently because I haven't really done a lot of balancing yet. So things like these ships are just so slow that it doesn't even make sense to demo it really. But we can check now. As soon as they arrive, we should have a bunch of fuel and then mining can continue. Boom, we've got 3k fuel, mining continues. Fantastic. Oh, mostly text-based. Okay, I know, then it's quite the improvement. Okay, and you'll see it requested another fuel shipment because we are burning through the fuel very quickly. So the fuel shipments are continuously happening now. And if I speed up the game even more, what you'll notice is, okay, so this is interesting. You'll see now there are 3 fast dots and 2 slow dots. And this is now where communicating to the players kind of still lacking. Why are some of them fast? Well, it's actually a smaller ship. So it's a small freighter or a small tanker, which they are faster, but the, let's call it the resource rate isn't as good. So even though technically they'll get there faster, they bring so much fewer resources that the net rate of resource transfer is quite low. Okay, now we have another problem. You'll notice, yeah, this is now, it was real time. Oh geez, it's one of those games where you kind of leave it running and then you log in occasionally and check if something, it's like a Clash of Clans, I think does that. There's other games that do that obviously, but like that's now one I can think of. Yeah, this game shouldn't be that slow, but okay, so there's going to be another problem here soon, and that is that the couple of ships or tankers that I started the game with will all be stranded over here, right? Which is obviously not good. But what we can do is we can just stop all the mining activities somehow. You know, I'm just going to switch off the power. There we go. So now no more mining will occur. And actually what's going to happen now is the logistics network is going to notice, listen, I have resources to export, but somehow all the ships are missing. So then this station will actually refuel the ships and send them back, so that they can get. And there's a whole priority system and everything, because you can imagine there will potentially be hundreds of different nodes requesting and sending things. So there's a big priority system that I built in the background to decide where ships will go when, because I don't want the player to be involved with that. I want the player to just look at the game and the nice dots flying around, set the imports and exports, and then go on with their lives. So I think what I actually should do, and I'll probably do this offline, but I'll try balancing the game a little bit, and then so my current goal is to just finish. Okay, so that's enough of that for now. I have a big checklist of things that I need to finish. So these things over here, that's what I'm currently busy with. So once they are done, then Vulcan, which is will be in a good enough state that it actually does everything that I intended it to do for now. So my idea would be, okay, cool, Vulcan, well done, you do everything I want you to do. UI looks terrible, the user experience is non-existing. However, there's enough of a game that I could make my first devlog. And what I'll do then is I'll just play the game a little bit, right, on my own. Get a nice logistics network set up with things moving about and it looks cool. And then I can record it and I can show you guys what is actually happening. Oh, you followed me on Itch. Yes, I'm gonna put it on Steam eventually. Before then, I do think I want to launch a demo on Itch. I think it's important to get feedback, and especially, like, I mean, I've spent hundreds of hours developing the game, right? So if there was ever gonna be a biased opinion, it's gonna be mine. So I think it's a good idea to put it on Itch, just a small demo version, and maybe even as I progress through demos or through versions, I can keep updating it, getting more feedback, changing things, fixing things, getting more feedback. Because I think at some point, my opinion about the game is probably going to be pointless because I'm going to be massively biased at some point. Especially if you know it's like a system you've spent a lot of time on, and then the players come, this system kind of sucks. It's like, does it really? I spent like 20, plus days building that. I don't think it sucks. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to work. Before I have to go to my real job in a few minutes. Okay, so we want to get the anchoring system working correctly. That's where we were. At least it's not in error anymore. So okay, so anchored is a special type of state where many other things cannot happen. So we can't just simply get out of the anchor state by shoving in a new state. We need to specifically call unanchor. Now here's the important bit. When we are unanchoring, I kind of want to So what I'm thinking is, when you are unanchoring, we should probably have a little bit of time go by. Yeah. Ooh, what is that noise? Haven't heard one of those in a while. Is that a follow noise? Hey, oh yeah, Skeptical Orange, thanks for the follow. And Navarix Games. Navarix, are you also a developer by any chance? It's kind of in your name. I'm assuming you also an aspiring indie dev. You as well, Skeptical Orange. I guess that's what we all are, hey? Everybody that hangs about in the the programming side of Twitch is probably some kind of a aspiring dev. Or a proper one. You have some games out. Hey, that's nice. On Steam. Like, are you a professional? Do you make money? Oh, that's pretty great, man. Do you have a link? Now I'm curious. You don't make money. Oh, you just make free games. Ah, I see. You're an altruistic indie developer. Okay. Now, so what I'm thinking is anchoring should take some time. So do we have another state called anchoring? Ish. I don't know about that one. And then another state called unanchoring. I need to think about this. Well, oh, they just don't sell well anymore. Okay. Creep Wars. Oh, a tower defense game. Hey, 21 reviews. That's not bad. Yes, this looks very familiar. I'm getting massive Warcraft 3 vibes here. With this one. This is now Creep War. This looks pretty cool, man. When was this released? This is an old game. 2020. It kind of looks like one of those... Yes, back in the day I used to play so many of these map editor games in World of Warcraft. Not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3. Like, you could just... People could make games like this in the map editor. And that's probably why it looks so familiar. You probably got some inspiration from that, hey? You could use the in-game models and then make them do other kinds of things. Interesting. And this is your new game. What is this about? Oh, geez, look at this art. Are you doing the art yourself? Wow. I wouldn't even know how to do that. Are these 3D models that are just rendered to look like they were drawn? I suppose that's what they are, hey? You're not actually drawing the little sprites. It's not actually a 2D game. You're just making me believe it is. Okay. So it's some kind of a pixel renderer. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Okay, what is this? Real time. You like your RTS games, hey? I don't think that's a very easy genre to develop for. That's pretty nice. What's that face? Are you in agreement with how easy it is to develop for RTS? Yeah. Now, I can just imagine, like, if I think about this, it's like... Oh, I don't even want to think about it. I mean, I'm making a small simulation game where you just click on things and menus appear, and that's already been quite a lot of work. I wouldn't even know how to start doing things like proper pathfinding and AI, like for the enemy units AI, or even just getting to, like, how do you teach the computer to play the RTS game well? For tower defense game, it's much more simple, right? You can just send more units or make them stronger to make it more difficult. But with an RTS game where you need balance, you don't want the player to feel like he's got the same units, but they are stronger. The player needs to feel like he's got the same units and he is using them better, and that's why I lose, which is very difficult. Okay, Flowfield, A-star. I guess, but I don't think that completely solves the problem. I know, like Age of Empires, I read somewhere. Now I'm getting completely off track, but it's fine. I read somewhere the way they do pathfinding, or they solved their pathfinding issue. And it wasn't that they couldn't do pathfinding, it was that pathfinding is expensive. Especially when you get to like 8-player games, right? Because in Age of Empires, you can have 8-player games, no problem. So there's a lot of things to consider for pathfinding, and one of the ways they reduce the load is to have the formation system. So if you play Age of Empires, it's very apparent that the units go into a formation. And that's specifically because it reduces the pathfinding load when you are just moving across the map, right? Obviously, as soon as they get into combat, then things get a little bit more hairy, but at least all the massive unit movements or army movement is a little bit more optimized. But yeah, it's a complicated... Oh, flow fields are very cheap. Okay. I suppose then... I guess... Yeah. Yeah, I think the only kind of pathfinding I've ever done is with Unity's built-in pathfinding thing. And from what I remember, it was... I actually don't remember. I don't remember if it was good or not. My other game had massive problems with performance, and that's partially why it's been abandoned. Yeah, the Unity built-in one is probably not the one you should be using if you have hundreds of units going about their business, right? Okay, you actually use it for creep wars, and it was performant. Okay, but they weren't recalculating their destination all the time, right? Because they kind of knew where they wanted to go. Then it's probably not that bad. I had a game, well, my other game, you had a character and it's a Vampire Survivors like, right? So every time your character moves, all of the mobs that are trying to catch you need to change their destination or their target. And then when they get close to the target, they need to stop chasing the target and start hitting the target. So you had all these things. And then when you move away again, they need to start chasing. So I kept having to switch it on and off and blah, 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 and change targets and stuff. And I think that might have been partially why it was way worse. Anyway. Okay, so we can either be anchored, we can be anchoring, or we can be unanchoring. Okay, so... Okay, so what I should actually do is I should have something like an anchor timer or something like that. Fantastic. At least I have an update thing as well. So I could just have a simple timer in here. No problem. Okay, unanchoring should be a little bit more complicated. Okay, this is going to be annoying. Anyway, let's go through it. So let's imagine we have a public void anchor as well. I think I actually have that already. I have anchor in region. So anchor, unanchor. Okay, let's think about how this would work. Okay, so when we unanchor, I think one of the things is we can check that if our state is not equal, let's go not equal to state dot, oh come on, anchored, right, we can just return, right, we just, good old guard clause, if you are not anchored, why are you trying to unanchor, right, very easy. Okay, and then what we essentially need to do is we need to do state dot state equals state dot oh my word, this is the hardest typing I've ever done in my life. Okay, so we go state dot unanchoring, right, and we maybe invoke a state change, right? And anchor, we do something if the state is equal to anchor. Okay, now we need to be careful here. When can you anchor? I guess you can only anchor when you are idle. You can go from an idle state to an anchored state via the anchoring state. If you are anchoring already, there's no point trying to. So yeah, I think this is a good guard clause. We need to be idle before we can anchor. And we actually changed our state to, let's rename this to start the unanchor and start anchor. I guess we put the ings there. Start unanchoring, start anchoring. Okay. Nice. Okay, so, and then this is just, we go from state anchoring and we invoke a state change. Okay. Now we need a little bit of a timer. I'm just going to put it right here. My code is so flippin' float. I'll just do an anchor timer. Okay, so that's just the timer itself. Now we don't need a boolean. We can check anchor timer against the state, right? Right, and what we can do is we can say anchor timer equals 0. We can just reset it every time we start anchoring or stop anchoring. Right, and then we can go to the updater. Right, and we can go anchor timer plus equal delta time. Right, now yeah, you can't add a double and a float together or whatever. Fine, I'll make it a double. Okay, anyway, we add to our anchor timer delta time. And now we can simply do I think I did something wrong here previously. Okay, this one's a little bit different, but it's going to be if anchor timer is greater than, I don't know, 5 seconds. We'll come back to this. So there's a bit of a to-do here. Timer set to 5 seconds. Is that really what we want? Okay, we can think about that at a different time. Anchor timer greater than 5. Then we basically set. Okay, now this is important. We don't do this every time. Okay, and so we actually need to put an if here as well. If state equals anchoring or, right, or not idle, unanchoring. Okay, those are the only situations in which the anchor timer gets flipped. Okay, so once the anchor timer is done, we can do. Now these don't need to be public, right? Maybe those two, but void finish anchoring. Okay, now it depends on what type of anchoring we are doing, but essentially what we want to do is if our state was state.un. Ah, my greatness. Anchoring, which means we're trying to anchor, we can set the state to anchored. Equals state not anchored. Okay, else if it's unanchoring, we can finish the anchoring, so we go to the unanchoring state equals to state.idle. For Pete's sake. Why is it so difficult? State.idle. Thank you. What the hell? Okay. That's effectively what we do. If we were anchoring, we go to the anchored state. If we were unanchoring, we go to the idle state. Okay, perfect. I think that's all I really need to do there. And we just need to call finish anchoring when this happens. Now, I don't know if this is entirely necessary, but the anchor timer doesn't need to do anything if we are not in one of those two states. Right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and after 5 seconds, we'll finish the anchoring. Now, that's fine for the most part. And we should also just, when we finish anchoring, we should just invoke our state change. Okay. Okay, now here we have another problem. We have a few more states. Guess I should fix this because there's now so many states that anchored is not the only state that I want to guard against here. Now I could just make more guard clauses, but that seems kind of dumb. Okay, so this happens. State.idle. Okay, this is not correct, obviously, but we'll fix that now. And this one as well might not be correct. Okay, you know what? I can change this in the future, but for now, any of the anchor-related states, we're not gonna allow you to change the state. Yeah, for now, I think that is acceptable. Okay, unfortunately, I need to call it there. It's 8 a.m. currently. I need to get to work. So I'll probably continue with this throughout the day, hopefully, if I can find some time. But join me tomorrow and we can see how far I got and what we need to do next. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time. Let me go to the ending screen, first of all. Thanks for popping by. Thanks again to Mig for the raid. And I think I can raid now, right? There's like 4 people. Yeah, let's raid with 4 people, why don't we? Okay. Don't recognize anybody online currently. Anybody have a raider or somebody I could raid?